next we would like to invite on the Labour MP for Central Leeds, MP Hilary Benn.
Well, good afternoon. And it is wonderful as the local Member of Parliament, and I'm so pleased to be accompanied by two of the local councillors. We're going to hear from Councillor Khan in a moment, and his colleague Kelly. Wonderful to welcome you all here to the Anglers Club, which is a magnificent institution, is it not? In our local community. I want to thank you, Lisa, for your very kind invitation to congratulate you on what ATAY has done in bringing people together. Look at the number of people who have turned out here this afternoon, because this is proof that communities of human beings, wherever they find themselves, in the land of their birth or the land where they have ended up. And you know, the story of human existence is one of movement across the earth in search, in many cases, of a better life, safety and security. But even when that happens, we take with us on that journey our culture, our language, our traditions, our history, our memories, our songs and our stories. And I was particularly keen to accept your kind invitation to come here today, because to be able to learn literally the tongue of your mother and your father is a very important basic right, because it is part of who we are. And I want to congratulate you for the work that you are doing to promote mother tongue teaching. The second thing I want to say is about the universality of human rights. And Amnesty International is a wonderful organisation because it speaks up for people who have no voice, for people who are being held in prison, people who are at risk of death, people who are being oppressed and denied their rights, and in some countries tortured. And they do an extraordinary job, and I want to thank them for that. And the story we've just heard from Francis is such a powerful one about the triumph of the human spirit. One of my memories in Leeds that I will take with me to my dying day is that extraordinary morning when Millennium Square was filled. It was a rather grey day. I think it may have been a Monday morning. And the square was absolutely packed. And the reason the square was absolutely packed was because that was the day that Nelson Mandela came to Leeds to receive the freedom of the city. And I was fortunate enough to be in the council chamber, and the door opened and in came the mayor and the mace bearer, and there was Nelson Mandela. And the woman who was sitting in front of me just burst into tears, because she and the thousands of people in the square had come to watch living history. He was a remarkable individual, and he showed what can be achieved if you are determined to campaign for freedom, equality and fairness. And when he became the president, he realised that his responsibility was to reach out to those who had oppressed him previously and to embrace them. He showed extraordinary forgiveness and magnanimity. He didn't triumph and say, right, now I'm going to do to you what you did to me. He said, we are all South Africans in the new South Africa. You are all welcome. You all have your place. You are all valued. And when we look around the world at the conflicts that affect so many parts of it, in the end, if conflict is to be brought to an end, it has to be on the basis of dialogue, discussion, politics, and compromise. And I am recently, in the autumn of last year, became the Shadow Secretary of State for Northern Ireland. And those of you who may know the history of Northern Ireland, there was a terrible conflict there that claimed nearly 3,500 lives. It went on for about 30 years. And when I was young, people would have said it'll still be going on in 100, 200, 300 years' time. But we lived to see the day when it came to an end. And what brought it to an end was a willingness on the part of the leaders to the conflict to stop saying, I am the victim and you are my oppressor. And you go around the table and the person is saying, no, 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 I'm the victim and you are my oppressor. They realised that they would have to put that to one side, come together and say, stretch out the hand of friendship and say, we need to work together in the interest of the people, of the land that we share, the people that we represent. And they brought peace to Northern Ireland. And it is a most remarkable story. And we have had our share of conflict and warfare going back over 1,000 years. And in the end, that is how conflict can be resolved if there is the political will to do so. And so I think the message of today is, even when times are difficult and times are hard, a better future beckons if we are determined, if we do not give up in the struggle and in the campaign, if we work with others, if we are committed to the rights of all people. And, you know, human rights is the last thing I want to say. There are some people in Britain who say human rights, what a terrible thing, we should get rid of the protections that we have. The European Convention on Human Rights, the Human Rights Act, which was passed into law by the previous Labour government. And all I want to say about that, when I was listening to Francis reading out what the Declaration had to say about the rights of people, it brought the Human Rights Act to my mind, because that piece of legislation, that convention, and the rules that surround it are there to protect the rights of every single one of us here in this room today, and all of the people in this great city of Leeds. Because it is a means by which we can ensure that people are respected, are treated fairly, do have an opportunity to love who they wish, to live where they wish, to work in the way that they wish, to speak the language that they wish. And I want to wish all of you every success as you carry on with your important work over the months and the years ahead. Thank you very much.